up, get up, stand up. It's the morning lift. Raises up. Start your week with us. Get up. It's the morning lift. Speak your soul. It'll make you whole. He's in control. It's the morning lift. Get up. Stand up. Praises up. It's the morning lift.
Yes, yes, yes. Good morning. Good morning. I just have to say, I continue to love that music. It just gets me up and gets me going. This is the Morning Lift Show, and I am Dr. Sean Kyle. And you are listening to this show on Intellectual Radio and iHeart Station. And if you're watching it live on Facebook, hey everyone, this is Dr. Sean Kyle. And I just want to say, if this is your first time tuning into the show, I want to give you a little bit of background of what this show is about. This show is your morning get up and go weekday show on Monday mornings at 8 a.m. The Morning Lift is a show that not only propels you towards your future, but it gives you some tips, some advice on how to move your life forward for physical, spiritual, emotional, and mental wellness. We take care of all four of your needs. And you can hear us, of course, on iHeart. You can hear us here at Intellectual Radio. You can watch us on our live stream here on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And if you're somewhere where you're using an app, we also can be heard on Spreaker and Apple Podcasts. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. And I'm so thankful today. We actually have one of our sponsors here in the studio. But the sponsors we have for this show are amazing. We have Therapy Tees, which is a full line of uplifting and engaging t-shirts for men and women. And you can purchase them online at www.therapytees.store. And we have Hemp Happier. Yes, Hemp Happier, an organic CBD-based product line using the richest medicinal products for the most health-conscious individuals around the world. Shop for their products at www.hemphappier.com. And what you may not know is one of our sponsors is Dr. Erika Montgomery, and that's who we have in the studio today. I'm so pleased just to have incredible guests. I have some amazing guests. You can actually find out the list of guests that I have for the show. Look at the calendar of events on the show website at www.themorningliftshow.com. Again, that's www.themorningliftshow.com. And you can take a look at who we have each week to get your week going. And Dr. Erika is here today to talk about her topic, transforming our mind during a pandemic and getting away from the I can't syndrome. I want to tell you a little bit about her bio because Erika, she's my girlfriend, but she's an amazing therapist. And so she's a licensed clinical therapist with 23 years of experience providing mental health treatment to children, adolescents, adults, and families. Erika earned a doctorate in clinical psychology from the Virginia Consortium for Professional Psychology in 1997. Dr. Erika has been in private practice in Oak Park, Illinois for the past 20 years. Dr. Erika has served as a medical consultant with the Social Security Administration for the past 10 years. Dr. Erika hosts her own weekly show called Master Your Mind with Dr. Erika on iHeartRadio. Dr. Erika also owns a CBD dispensary online. Did y'all hear that? A CBD dispensary online at www.hemphappier.com. She can be followed on Instagram at Dr.G.Montgomery. That's Dr.G.Montgomery. And her website to learn more about the services that she provides is www.healthyminds.expert. So if y'all will just give a warm welcome, I know I'm giving a warm welcome to Dr. Erika. I know that listeners are so excited to hear from you. We have so much going on in our society. You know, this pandemic has a lot of people questioning things mentally about what they should do. Should they seek a new career? Should they start a new relationship? How do they handle their children being at home, this work-life balance. They have so much going on. And for me, it's actually been a little bit scary talking to some of my girlfriends who seem to just be struggling with anxiety or depression, trying to figure out where they fit and how they get their families back to wholeness. And so, this show is all about getting you mentally well to move forward. So I'm so excited to have you here. And without further ado, tell us, Dr. Erica, help us. How do we get started on this mental healthy wellness journey? How did you transform your own mind, and how do we transform our mind during this pandemic and move away from the I can't mindset?
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Sean. I have to say, I am so excited to be here. I am typically on the other end of the interviewing. And so, this to me is such a blessing. I just want to say thank you for having me. You are a phenomenal woman, and I just enjoy being in your company. It's a blessing. So, thank you for having me. And you are absolutely right. This pandemic has really turned everyone upside down. Everything that is going on in our world right now with the civil injustice, racial discrimination, and racism, the economic, you know, uh, financial strains that families have been under, the educational system that has been tested never before, you know, and there is so much transformation going on. So I think, the first thing I want to say is you say the I can't, and I think that that's the key. For so long, we have been programmed to think that we can't. So long we've been programmed to think and believe that we need something outside of ourselves to make us feel validated and make us feel worthy. And we've looked to our schools, we've looked to our government, we've looked to, different organizations, again, outside of ourselves to give us validation. And the one thing that like Dr. Sean said, I've been practicing mental health for 23 years now. And the one thing that I always have learned and want my patients to understand is that they have everything that they need within them. They are worthy, they are valuable, and they are enough. So my message really is to send to everyone to let them know that they are sufficient for this time of change and transformation. I want everyone, and I encourage everyone to look within them, because you have within you the power to begin to dream again, the power to begin to choose what programming you want to live by. And I think that's the thing. For so long, people have developed and been created to believe this programming that society has given us about who we are, about what we can do, what we can achieve. And we've gotten so used to checking off those boxes, because if I do this, then I'm going to be valuable and worthy. If I do this, then I'm going to be successful. If I do this, then I'm going to be liked. And with this current epidemic, with this pandemic globally, everything is upside down. So I really want and encourage people to begin to look within and choose. Really, mental health is really about making a decision that you no longer want to live by the old program that no longer works for you, right? Because we all run these tapes in our heads over and over about what we can't do, or about how we're not good enough, we're not worthy enough. And it's a lie. It's a program. We've all, anyone who's lived in this country has been programmed into the I can't mentality, programmed into the I'm not good enough, especially our African American and minority brothers and sisters. They definitely feel like they're not good enough and they're not worthy. And that is the complete opposite. That's the furthest from the truth. And so I always say, the truth shall set you free, right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Right? And so I just want everyone really to think about making a decision that you are no longer going to continue to play those anxiety tapes in your head or those depression tapes in your head. And I can go on and talk a little bit more about what those look like, or those I'm not good enough, or people aren't going to like me. Everyone's so worried about what other people think about them, where the key is, what do you think about yourself?
Ooh, say that. Say
Right?
more about that.
It's
That is
really
the
about,
truth.
what do you think and what do you believe about yourself? And so, in my practice of mental health, I am always teaching on, what do you believe to be true about yourself? Because we know now that what you believe to be true becomes your story and you make it true. Okay.
Yes.
And so, again, I'm always talking about, what is your program? When people come to me and they say they've got anxiety, they're afraid, they're worried, they're always thinking about the worst case scenario, or they've got depression, they're down on themselves, they're critical, they're in that I can't mindset. I'm always asking them, well, what do you believe to be true? What is it that you tell yourself on a daily basis that contributes to the fear, the worry, the anxiety, the stress, the insomnia, the depression, right? What is it that you're telling yourself that creates that emotion, and then the physical, biological reaction, physiological response of fear? Because what you're telling yourself is perpetuating the anxiety, perpetuating the depression, perpetuating that negative mindset that says, I can't, I'm not good enough. And so, really, you really want, the first step is to make a decision that you no longer believe that the program you've been running in your head works. Right? Once you decide, I don't like this program, I don't like feeling anxious all the time, I don't like feeling depressed, I need something new, right? Once you make that choice, because see, I can't is a choice. On the opposite is I can. So you got to decide, do you want to be an I canter, or do you want to be an I canner? And President Obama said, yes, we can.
Yes.
Yes, we can,
Yes.
right? So if you decide that you can, then the first step is starting to recognize, identify, journal, become aware of that negative program that you've been running in your head, right? Since you've been born. And so, how did we get the program? Okay, I'm gonna go a little deeper.
Yes. Please tell
Where
us.
does the program come from? The program comes from birth, and even before then, because we got the ancestry, our ancestors' genes and blood running through our veins, and so sometimes the trauma is generational, right? Because our genes have memory, right? The water in the cells of our genes have memory. And so
Wow.
sometimes that trauma is even before we were born. And then we're born into the program of America, right? That tells us we can't, or we need external validation for who we are. And we know that that is no longer the case. We know that we, particularly African American people, we know we come from kings and queens. We come from a rich heritage of royalty, right? But we don't know that. We don't know that. So we're in that I can't mentality. And as we grow, we have people that feed their program into our program, right? So our program is coming from our parents, our grandparents, our teachers, our social media, the people that have impressed us in our lives, our trauma, our upbringing, right? Those words that we were constantly told over and over about who we are, who we're supposed to be, what our limitations are. So this becomes our program, right? And so we're, as adults and teenagers, are running this negative program. And the negative program is what continues to, perseverate and ruminate in our heads. And that's our self talk. So again, we as adults, we as teenagers, we as children can reprogram our mindset. We can reprogram who we are and what we want to be, who we want to be. you know. And that starts with making a decision that we are no longer going to be a victim, you know, or a bystander in our life, and be submitted to that program. And so the first step is really saying, I can. I control my thoughts. I choose my emotions. I choose, and that's the thing, you know, with thoughts. I always say, you know, it's our self talk, it's what we're telling ourselves on a daily basis that becomes our beliefs. And our beliefs become our program. And our program is what creates our reality and our experiences. And so we have to begin to change that self talk. And we do it every day by day, checking what we're telling ourselves, checking how we're feeling. And the thing is we know now, like in the 23 years that I've been practicing, there has been so much change in the science of psychology, in the science of mental health. We know now that with epigenetics, we know now that you can actually change how your genes express themselves by your
Wow.
thoughts. Yes. We know that you no longer, because of the genetic predisposition, have to actually have that specific disorder. We know that you can actually resolve that anxiety, resolve that depression, resolve the trauma, that it doesn't have to continue to be carried out in cycle after generation. And so what we know is that it's with our thinking. That's why my show is called Master Your Mind with Dr. Erika, because
Yes.
I want people to realize that it's the mastery of your thoughts in your self talk and what you tell yourself that really makes the difference between what you begin to believe, and then again, what you believe you make true. So your beliefs then become your experiences. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, that is so my mantra. And so the purpose and mission behind Faith Forward Ministries, Faith Forward Ministries sponsors the Morning Lift Show. And it's all about telling yourself what you want to achieve in life, right? It starts with a thought. It starts with your faith, right? And you believe certain things about what your destiny looks like. And I heard one of our guests say, and I've been saying that Pastor Thaddeus Searcy was on here a few weeks ago, and he said, um, "Don't believe what you see what you believe." And so that requires you to look into your future, right? And see something that you really want or who you want to be. And then backing up and training yourself in the present to believe that to be actually happening. And that's exactly what you're talking about. And I say it, I don't have a psychology background, Dr.
No need
Erica,
to.
but I say all the time to my children, to other people, to myself, because I have to tell myself this, that I look at myself 30 years from now, right? What does that look like? And in order for that to happen, I've got to do some things today to make sure, or to at least navigate it, the way that it should go, so that that becomes the truth. In Habakkuk 2:2 through 4, it tells us that. It tells us right there what to do. Have a vision. Here's the paraphrase, Dr. Sean version. Have a vision, believe it, run with it. So you got to write it down, share it, tarry with it, which means to have some patience, and it will come to pass. Not maybe, it will. And that's exactly what you're talking about. What you believe will be actually will come. And so when we have those negative thoughts, we believe we're overweight, or we think we can't finish college, or we think our relationship is bad. That's actually what's going to happen, because if you think it, your body will do it.
Yeah.
When I used to run track in high school, we had a logo on our shirt that said, "What you believe, what your mind believes, your body will achieve. Now let's go to work." And that's what we used to say all the time when we ran around the track. And that's so true about everything. If you believe it, your body does those things. And again, that's the whole purpose of this show. It's about your spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental wellness. You can't separate those things apart. If you believe you are sick, you will be sick,
Yeah.
right? I have lupus, and that is a condition that a doctor says I have, right? But I believe I am well. I believe I am healed. So I act accordingly. I eat better. I sleep better. I take my medication, but I also meditate and I pray about it. I work and physically, work my body out. I believe in my mind and I'm healthy. And so my body responds to that. If I
Mhm.
think, oh, I have lupus, and so this chronic fatigue and this inflammation in my hands, I have to just lay down. My body's going to always want to lay down.
Do you know
Yes.
that do you know that 90 to 95% of how we function and behave is subconscious?
Wow.
So we are operating subconsciously on a daily basis from our program that I can't program, right? And so what you're talking about is really beginning to challenge that program and say, I can. Yes, I can do this. Yet I don't have to be the smartest to do it. I don't have to be the prettiest. I don't have to be, the most even vocal to do it. And I think what has happened is, I think in our youth, their creativity has been stifled. Really. Our youth no longer dream. Are you talking about what you're talking about is law of attraction.
Yes.
What you're talking about is law of attraction. And the thing about law of attraction is that we have about 60 to, let's say, 70,000 thoughts a day that run in our subconscious mind and our conscious mind daily. And it's what we focus on, right? It's those thoughts that we choose to focus on that we allow to come into our experience, our physical experience, that we then begin to carry out, right? So it's how you think, what you're focusing your attention on, that stirs your emotional state, and then you act on those things. And so if 90%, let's say 90% of what you're thinking in those 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day are negative, then what is your experience going to be? Your emotional experience is going to be a negative, and then you're going to carry out that negativity in your behavior. And it becomes a subconscious program. And people always say, well, why did I do that? Well, why did I say that? And they don't realize is that it's a program. They're doing it automatically without thinking.
It's a self fulfilling prophecy, right?
Yes, it is. What we believe, we make true. Because what we focus our thoughts on then stirs up emotion and then becomes our behavior, what we act out on a daily basis. And so, really, we have to make the decision to begin to think, really master our thinking, so that we choose to focus on those thoughts that are self serving, those thoughts that are uplifting, those thoughts that are encouraging, those thoughts that are saying, I can, I will. And then also, what I begin to teach is that we can actually create new thoughts. So we don't have to circulate, right? We don't have to recirculate those old tapes and those old thoughts. And because if you've got, 90% of negative thoughts to choose from, right, in your thought life, well, guess what? You don't have to choose any of those thoughts. You could be like, nah, that's negative. I always tell people to next, that's a lie. I'm not believing it anymore. I've decided I no longer want to beat up on myself. I no longer want to be self critical. I no longer want to be afraid of everything, you know? So I'm going to create some new thought. And that's where the dream comes in. See, how do you create new thought if you don't take the time to think about what you actually want to create? See, if you're just stirring those old tapes over and over again, and they're creating anxiety and depression and
Mm.
insomnia and an unfulfilling relationship and career and life experience, then you have to ask yourself, what do I want to create? And you know how Martin Luther King said, I have a dream.
Yes.
And he was able to see a time where we can all be equal and respected and valued for who we are, for our intelligence and what creativity we bring. And that's the thing with, with our youth and with our world today. People stop dreaming about what they want, about a better life, about a more fulfilling relationship. And when you stop dreaming about what you do want, then you get what you don't want and you get what you've been getting, right? And so it's that cycle. And so The daily practice, really, especially in this particular time of quarantine, the daily practice is quieting our minds, getting out our journals, and really starting to think. We have to become critical thinkers because the media is going to feed you what they want you to believe, right?
Maybe we should turn some
Politics,
of that off.
right? Politics is going to feed you what they want you to believe, right? Even our educational system teaches what they want you to believe. But what is the truth? See, that's really what you need to start learning about. Learn your history. If you're African American, Latino American, learn your history because the more you learn about who you really are, the more empowered you are to dream bigger, to create better, to really say, I don't need to have these negative thoughts. I can actually choose the empowering thoughts, the thoughts that are going to create me and evolve me to be bigger and better. And that comes right here. You got everything that you need in your mind. And it's when you begin to master the thoughts that you begin to experience a different feeling. That's why gratitude is
I love
so
that.
powerful. Gratitude, we know, is one of the highest energy frequencies because it is basically a state of receiving, right? It's a state of receiving. You talked about not what's important is not physical, it's the non physical, it's what we
That's right.
can't see, it's that energy that we feel. It's kind of like, when you're feeling some kind of way. You may not know where it comes from or why you feeling it, but you know when you feel in love or
Yes.
when you're feeling distant and
Yes.
disconnected. And when you're feeling disconnected, you got to question, what am I thinking? What is my body in tune to? What is my intuition in tune to? And when you're feeling love, that's what you got to go with. You always got to go with the love because that is who you really are. See, and that I think that's the truth. Again, with that programming, people are fed all of this misinformation, all of these lies, all this learning that is incorrect. The truth of who we really are is love, is infinite, is power, is creative energy that we choose what we want to become. We choose what we want to think. We choose what experiences we want by our dreaming. The detail they saying in the law of attraction, it says the more you can visualize it, the more you can see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, feel it. Feel it is
Absolutely.
key. Feeling it is key. If you can feel it, you know, then you can create it. You can be it. And something is powerful. They say everything that you see that exists in our physical world was first a thought in somebody's head. They had to
Absolutely.
visualize it first. And so, again, I encourage everyone out there to not be content with your current situation, not be stuck into your current programming and those tapes that play over and over again. Begin to create new thoughts. Create thoughts that reflect on who you really are authentically. Create thoughts of love. Create thoughts of abundance. Create thoughts of opportunity. Create thoughts of beauty and acceptance and connection. Create thoughts of security and safety. You know, those are the things, the thoughts that we need to begin to perpetuate, that we need to begin to tell ourselves over and over and over and over,
And
you
write them
know.
down.
Write them down. Not only write them down and hang them up all over.
That's right.
So when
All
you
over the
wake up
house.
first thing in the morning, you already see I'm beautiful.
That's right.
I'm genius.
That's right.
I'm good. I am enough. You've got to
Yes.
see it. You've got to feel it. So I tell people, especially people who have a lot of anxiety and fear, I say, what if you woke up and that was no longer an option? What if the emotion of fear or worry or anxiety was no longer an option and you had to choose a different emotion? What emotion would you choose? And if you decided to choose the emotion of love or peace or calm or serenity, what would it look like? What would it feel like? You know, because our bodies just interpret the sensations. But if we label the sensation excitement as opposed to anxiety, we'll get a different thought process, a different thought pattern. And that's the thing, too, I've learned. If you hold a thought for 17 seconds, guess what? Another similar thought will come right after it. So imagine that.
Wow.
If you hold the thought of love for 17 seconds, another one is coming after. Or the thought of I am good enough for 17 seconds, another good one is coming. But it also works in the reverse because that's why they say the universe doesn't care if you're choosing the negative program or the positive prosperous program, right? It's going to provide.
It's going to manifest
It's going to
exactly what you're
manifest
thinking.
exactly what you're calling because that's energy. Think about this. Our minds are more powerful than our cell phones. And you know how I can send a text to you, you can get it instantaneously?
Yes.
That's how our brains are. That's the energy of the thoughts that transmit from our minds. That's how powerful we are. That's why prayer is so powerful because
Yes.
it's focused thinking on love and positivity and healing and abundance and goodness and gratitude, right? So you're emitting electrical signals, right? Frequency signals that says, I need love, I want love, I am love. And so that is exactly what you begin to attract. That's why it's important that you focus your thinking on thoughts that you want to experience, on feelings and dream states that you want to experience, because you will begin to set in motion those experiences coming into your life because you're focusing on that dream that you want. You're focusing on that goal, on that end result. And people always say, well, I don't have the resources to do things, or we always put limitations. Well, I don't have the education, or I don't have the resources, or I don't have the support, or I don't have. See, and that's the key. The key is you don't need any of that. It's ironic. You don't need any of that. All you need is the energy of your emotions, the energy of your thoughts, and the power in your dream, the detail in your dream, feeling it, using all your senses, feeling it, tasting it, smelling it, hearing it, experiencing. It's almost as if you have to be there, be in the moment of experiencing.
And it only takes 17 seconds.
17
I don't
seconds
want
to
people
hold
to
that
miss
thought,
that. I don't
right?
want the audience to miss that.
Right. To
17
hold that
seconds will
thought,
change your thought, will
if
change
you
your life.
hold a thought, again, we're choosing the positive, uplifting, loving thoughts, right? Unlimiting, abundant thoughts. Another one is coming right behind it. And gratitude, as I was saying earlier, gratitude is a great way to start off your day. So I always tell my patients when you wake up in the morning, write down three things or think about three things that you're grateful for because gratitude automatically puts you in a healthy energy flow, a
And
healthy
would you
mindset.
say that for your adult patients and children?
All of them.
Yes.
All of it. And that's the thing. Children are the best manifestors because they're already creative. They are already imaginative. They already dream. A lot of their life is spent creating and dreaming. And we have to come back to that. Our teens need to come back to dreaming. See, teens, when you decide what it is you want and you focus your attention on it and you see it and you create it in your mind, then you're basically putting out that energy to attract it, right? And so that's why the meditation is so powerful. And I try not to use the word meditation because I think
That's
that
okay.
people have different ideas of what
Hmm.
meditation is. And so but we know that meditation is the single most powerful tool that we have internally to begin to change our thinking, to begin to change our mindset, to change those thoughts consciously, change those thoughts by choice, right? Because when you meditate, you are essentially quieting yourself, focusing on your breathing. And then for me, it's about creating that place, that happy place. It's about creating that happy place for you. That happy place could be the future dream you have. That happy place could be all the material possessions you could acquire. That happy place can be, for me, it's the beach because I grew up in Inglewood, California. So my weekend experience was going to the beach. That was the highlight of my weekend. And I just love listening to the sound of the ocean. I love the sun shining on my face. And I just love the peace and calm, right, of the water. And so that's my happy place. So when I get into my quiet zone and I quiet my mind, it's not about quieting your mind, actually. It's about focusing your thoughts on where you want to be.
Because I think you said it right. Some people have the wrong idea of what meditation is. They may think it means getting rid of all thought and just sitting there with a blank brain. Your brain cannot turn off like that. It's not meant to do that. So
Especially if you're dealing with
I
anxiety and
know you
stress.
can't just make it go completely
and
black.
and, and that's the thing, you don't have to, because
Hmm.
see, you can only hold one thought at a time. You can only hold one thought in your focused attention at a time. Remember, I told you, if you hold it for 17 seconds, it then creates a similar thought. That's why we have the downward spiral in depression, the heightened panic for anxiety, because you're holding anxious thoughts that then create higher anxious thoughts. Or the depression, if you're holding a depressed thought, it creates another depressed thought, and then you spiral down into that deep depression. Okay. And so it's about making the choice to focus. You choose what you want to focus on, but you have to choose your focus has to be something that you want, something that you desire, something that's going to create and stir up positive emotions, positive feelings. Because if you hold that thought, let's say gratitude, then another thought will come right behind it. And that's really the key. It's really stopping what you're thinking in the moment where you become aware that you don't like the thought, switching it out, cancel that thought. And I often say, for me, this is funny. I always say the devil is a lie.
I say
I'm
that
not
too.
believing it. I am not believing that thought because I don't want to create that. I don't want that experience. So if I don't want that experience, I have to cancel out that thought and replace it with what I do want. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people don't know and haven't taken the time to think about what they do want. And so
Yes.
another tool that I ask people to do is write out their perfect day.
Okay.
Write out, what does your perfect day look like, or what does your perfect career, because right now people are going through a transformation in careers, transformation in jobs, transformation in schools. I mean, all of this change is creating opportunity. So instead of seeing it as a detriment, see it as an abundant opportunity to begin to create what you want. So think about what that perfect job would look like, or think about what that perfect relationship would look like, or think about what your perfect home might look like, or that perfect daily experience would look like. And again, you're choosing the thoughts that are going to trigger the emotion that feels good, right? And once you get that energy up, that energy vibration and frequency up, now you're on attracting mode. Now you're on, the universe goes and says, okay, this is what she wants. She's clear. She's clear about what she wants. So I could just give it to her. And
Yep.
and you know how people say, I don't know why, but I happen to be at the right place at the right
You
time
attracted it.
with the right person, with the right situation. And I had been thinking about that for some time, and it just kind of like happened. And that's how it works. These coincidences are not coincidences, right? These idiosyncratic experiences, no, they are intentional. And that's my word for the year, intentional.
Intentional.
We have to be intentional about our thinking. We have to be intentional about what emotion we want to feel. We have to be intentional about what we want our relationship to look like. How do we want our relationship with our children to look like? How do we want our relationship with our partners to look like? How do we want our relationship with ourself to look like? Because that is the most important relationship you can have, is the one with yourself. loving yourself. And I tell teens, I work with a lot of teens, and I tell them, your key is to learn how to be your own best friend and your own best cheerleader. Because a lot of times we go through experiences and we're ashamed or we're embarrassed or we feel guilty and we don't want to share. We don't want to ask for help. We don't want to reach out. And so we carry the burden on ourselves and we don't know how to uplift ourselves. We don't know how to tell ourselves it's okay. We don't know how to forgive ourselves and say, yes, you made a mistake, but you're still a good person. You're still loving. You're still unlimited. You're still able, you know? And that's why so many people, I think, are in this state of unforgiveness and anxiety and depression is because they've been carrying with them this emotional load and this mental load of this programming that does not serve them in a healthy way, and they have to release it. But in order to release it, you got to forgive you first. So many people, when we talk about forgiveness, they're always like, well, I can't forgive that person because they did this and they did that. And now they're gone, or I can't communicate with them, so I can't really let them know how I feel. And I tell them, I say, everything that you've been holding on to, all of the thoughts, all of the playing it over and over in your mind, all of the emotions you've been holding on to in your body, creating physical ailments, you're only harming yourself.
And I
You're
know
only
that,
damaging
and I know
yourself.
that for a fact, Dr. Eric. I know that for a fact in my own personal journey. There was a time when I couldn't forgive myself and couldn't forgive someone who had hurt me really bad. I couldn't do it. And those thoughts about, the anger or the resentment about them, and then not forgiving myself for the things that I contributed, just continue to manifest this thing. That's the time when lupus showed up, right? It's a stress disorder. My hair fell out. I started gaining weight. I had a whole lot of anxiety and depression. I was spinning completely out of control. So I know what you're saying. This thing is resonating with me so well. And I don't pretend to be an expert in it, but I'm telling you, when I decided to forgive myself, forgive that person, get my mental wellness together. I went to a therapist, right? I said, nope. Sean's gonna have to get her mind together. There's no shame. Some people will not want to share because they are ashamed in some reason, or they feel like, oh man, it's a negative thing to go to a therapist. But that was the most positive thing I did because I found new strategies how to do what you're saying. I needed someone to show me how to capture my thoughts, how to stop right now, how to count to 10, how to think positive thoughts, how to create who I wanted to be. So it was this combination effort. Yes, it was my faith too, but I needed someone to walk that journey with me. I needed some strategy. So these things you're saying about it takes 17 seconds. That's familiar to me, right? I would have to sit with myself. And I think my seconds were 20. I think I needed a little longer, Dr. Erica. But she would tell me, sit for 20 seconds.
The
Don't
longer
you
the better.
move.
Yeah, the longer the better, because you're just creating the emotion that you
Yes.
want, and that's
Yes.
what's attracting of
Yes.
what you want.
I had to do that. I had to learn how to meditate. And it wasn't about clearing my mind of everything. It was about removing the clutter and focusing on the positive. I was strong. I was beautiful. I was smart. I was capable. I was enough. And then, writing those things down. You suggested for our listeners to write down 3 things they're grateful for every day.
Yes.
And that is so
First thing in the
powerful.
morning,
Yes.
because that sets the
It sets
emotion
the
and the
tone for the
intention
day.
for the rest of the day. Yeah.
And I still do that. I still wake up in the morning and pray and meditate. I still write down the things that I'm thankful and grateful for. And then I still speak love and forgiveness over myself, over my kids, over people that may have hurt me, over the situation. And even if things don't turn out perfect, they are so much better that day versus the days where I woke up in a hurry. You might have forgotten to take that time, and so I try not to have any of those days or limit those days because the outcome of the day is so much different if I just take that time
It
to
is.
center myself. Think about the positive things, and that law of attraction works. When I tell you, when I
It's
thought,
science.
oh man, I'm
It's the
divorced,
science of
nobody's
energy.
gonna love me, da, 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 I thought like that. That's what happened. As soon as I started saying, oh no, I am beautiful, I am enough, girl, I'm gonna get myself a new husband. Here he came.
And you know what? So I'm just going to say to that, our words are energy.
Yes.
Our words, the words that we speak. That's why in the Bible it says, with your words, you choose life or
Mm-hmm.
death.
Yes, absolutely.
With our words, we choose, we create life or death. And so when you're in that anxiety mindset, or in that depressive mindset, or in that trauma mindset, you're choosing death.
Mm.
But when you're in that dream state, when you're in that gratitude state, when you're in that love state, when you're in that self love state, you're choosing life. And forgiveness of yourself is key. Forgive yourself for being human. Forgive yourself for running that negative program. Forgive yourself for being a victim. Forgive yourself for being the victim of racism. Forgive yourself for being the victim of rape or any type of trauma, you know. Forgive yourself because people are so hard on themselves. They are their worst um, critics, you know. And the thing is if we know better, we do better. When we know better, we choose better.
And I like that you say to encourage our teens
Oh,
to do
yes.
that because that's so important. A lot of them are home right now, probably feeling some kind of, discomfort or anxiety about, they're normally in a building with all their friends and smiling and, high five and or whatever they're doing and seeing each other in lockers. You can imagine all the things that go on in the hallway in a high school, right?
Yeah.
You're checking in on your friends and what they did over the weekend and girl, did you do your homework? Uh-oh, what about this test? All those kind of conversations are so healthy for them. And some of them are now home. A lot of schools didn't go back. I know my daughter's school didn't go back. Right now they're online. And so those thoughts of, that they're missing out on their normal communications with their friends may have them, like you said, feeling some kind of way,
Feeling disconnected.
feeling disconnected.
Feeling
So what
disconnected.
would you recommend that someone could do now? You may be working from home and you feel disconnected from your colleagues, right? I have some friends who, they always wanted to work from home until now they have to work from home and now they're like, I'm going crazy in this house. So, what is something they can do right now if you are a working adult or you're a teenager and you're missing your connection? What's
Right.
something they can change today?
Well, you know what? I think that we have to be responsible to protect ourselves and to protect our loved ones and our families. And so we have to follow science. I'm sorry, science is key. Okay. So as long as we're wearing our mask, as long as we're washing our hands frequently, and as long as we're keeping our distance, 6 feet, that's not a far distance. We can still connect. And I think that's the lie. The lie is that we can't. The lie is that we have to continue to be cut off and disconnected. And the truth is, it's impossible because we're all energy, so we're all connected irregardless. You can connect in a socially responsible way. So I encourage those teens, connect with your friends, but do it responsibly. You know, for the moms and dads out there, connect with your girlfriends or your guy friends, connect with your colleagues. Zoom is great, and these platforms for virtual experiences are great, but they can never replace the physical presence of a person. And a person's presence, that's why I tell everyone, if you don't know that you're enough, just be present with yourself. You are the present. You don't have to do anything, say anything, show anything, prove anything. You are enough. That's it. You good enough.
That is
That's
some
it.
powerful
You were
words.
create. I always say, if you believe in something higher, something that created us all, and that creator is perfect, and you were created from perfection, then what does that make you?
Perfect.
Exactly. Exactly. So again, we have to continue to live our lives. Don't stop living your life, but we have to do it in a smaller, more intimate setting, in a socially conscious way that we're wearing our masks, we're keeping our distance, we're washing our hands, and we're respecting other people. That's the key. Respect ourselves to protect ourselves and respect others. And I think we
That's
can
great.
we can still we can still move forward because whether we believe it or not, we are constantly in motion. We are constantly moving forward. And if we know anything about our universe, is that it is constantly changing and evolving. So what we're experiencing is a temporary state.
Absolutely
It's temporary.
temporary. Absolutely.
Everything that we experience in our life, the trauma is temporary. The changes are temporary. So I tell people who, are thinking about harming themselves or, in that real deep depression, I always say, hold on for another day. Hold on because I promise you, tomorrow is going to be
It's going to be
better.
better and you're going to
It's
move
going to be
forward.
different.
That's
It's
right.
going to, every day you wake up a new person
Yes.
because you've changed, you've learned something different, you've done something different, you've thought something different, you know?
Getting away from
So
that
you
I
can't
can't into I can. I
exactly,
can.
don't hold yourself responsible today for something you did yesterday or a week ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago for that matter. Back to forgiveness.
Yes.
You every day is a gift. Every
Amen
day
to
is a
that.
gift to make a choice to think different, to feel different, to dream. To dream. We've got to dream about a better world. We have to dream about a better life experience. We have to dream about a different career or different, family relationships. We've got to dream about what we want
And
because
manifest
what we
that
choose,
destiny.
exactly,
Absolutely. Well, Dr.
exactly.
Erica, I could love on you and listen to you talk about this because it's such an interesting topic. It's such a needed topic,
I know.
something that we all need
And I haven't
to
even mentioned my
remind. No, no,
CBD.
no. We're going to do that right now. We're going to
Okay,
do that
good,
right now. We
good.
cannot end this show without talking to Dr. Erica about her wonderful products.
Yes.
Again, she's one of our sponsors of the show, and we love her. She has an online dispensary called Hemp Happier.
Yes.
And if you could just quickly tell us, because some people, are perhaps a little confused, Dr. Erica,
Yes.
about the benefits of hemp and that it doesn't have to just make you high.
It
You
does
are a
not.
doctor, you are a professional.
Yes.
And so the organic uses of hemp really do have mental wellness benefits that is nothing to do with getting high. So if you could just
No,
share with us
it
about your
does not.
products, you brought some great products here. Maybe choose one that you would think that would be best for someone who's new to this. Just share with us a
Mhm.
little bit.
Yeah, and so my online dispensary is called Hemp Happier, and the thing is that we have to unlearn. We have to really begin to educate people because when people think of cannabis, they automatically think of marijuana, and they think of the THC, which gets you high. It stimulates those receptors in the brain, and that is not what CBD is. So CBD, cannabis, think about it like this. Cannabis is a natural plant that grows organically naturally. It is a plant. And cannabis has two daughters, one hemp and one marijuana. Well, hemp has a larger percent of CBD, which is a cannabinoid, okay? And THC is another cannabinoid, but there's a higher percentage of CBD found in the hemp species of the cannabis plant. And there's a higher percentage of THC found in the marijuana species. And so, what we want to do is we want to understand that CBD does not get you high. It has the legal limit for CBD, for THC in CBD, is less than 0.3%. So, less than 0.3% is the legal limit for THC found in CBD. And that minimal amount does not get you high. And so we talk about CBD being the medicinal cannabinoid, the medicinal part that doesn't get you high, right? And we know that CBD is legal in all 50 states now with the passing of the Farm Bill, right? And so now we can provide an alternative, natural, holistic oil, plant based oil, to our patients to help alleviate these symptoms of anxiety, help alleviate the stress, help alleviate the depression, increase your focus, alleviate some of that chronic pain, you know.
What's one of the products that you would think would be
So for
something that
me, I
they
am a daily user of
okay.
CBD and I recommend it to all my patients, my family, my friends. And so for me, in our product line, we have two. We have the Pure line and we have the Power line. The Pure line actually has 0.0% THC. So we recommend that for people who have random drug tests, right? And, they got to keep their jobs, right? So if you take, there's a gummy, there's tinctures, there's vapes, there's cooking oils. So there's different ways that you can get the CBD into your body. For me, I use the tinctures. I do the tincture in the morning, right? And then I do a gummy at night, right? And so for me, it's about reducing that stress so that I can be available for my patients, but then also getting that sound, restorative type sleep
Good
that a lot
sleep.
of people are not getting because they're so worried in their anxiety and they can't control those thoughts. So the Pure line, again, is 0.0% THC. That means none. Okay. In the power line has the legal limit of THC, and that's 0.3% or less. Okay. Again, doesn't get you high. It's legal, but we always say, if you want something that, you don't have to worry about random drug tests, it's a little bit more stronger, then go with the power. And so I typically start my patients off on our 500. We have our 500 hemp premium, and it allows people to, again, for the tinctures, you take it under your tongue, you hold it for about 60 seconds and then you swallow. You try not to eat or drink for about 15, 20 minutes after because you want it to get into your system. And then, it again is very calming. It helps to alleviate some of those anxiety symptoms. It helps slow and calm you. It helps to focus
And they're
you.
safe for
It's
teens.
safe for teens. Yes, we you know again, we always have our disclaimer that the CBD is not used to treat, cure, diagnose. If you have other medicines that you're taking, we recommend that you consult with your physician. We want you to become knowledgeable about the benefits of CBD. And again, it's not marijuana. It doesn't get you high. It's the medicinal part of the plant, right?
And so if they wanted to find out more information,
Yes.
you are a sponsor. So tell us, how
Yes,
do they
we
get more
actually,
information about your
yes, we
products?
actually host because so much of what we do is unlearning and re-educating. We actually host educational virtual workshops every day of the week. So if you just follow me on my Instagram, on my Facebook
And
page,
what's that?
Dr. Period G Montgomery, you will learn about the different educational seminars that are virtual that you can tap into that tells you about CBD. It explains to you what it is. I always go through the science of it. It tells about our products, our gummies. We also have a defense line for immune, boosting your immune. This is a nasal spray. We have an oil, essential oil that you can put in a diffuser. We also have tea because right now we have to build our immune systems. And do you know that 90 to 95% of physical ailments are stress induced? I'm going to say that again. And it might be 100, but 90 to 95% of physical ailments are stress induced. So, what that means is that when we are feeling stressed, when we are focusing on our worry and our fear and our I can't mindset, we weaken our body's immune system and our body's natural ability to rebuild itself, to heal itself. And so we have to stay healthy. particularly if we want to get through this,
That's right. That's right.
quarantine. And so,
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr.
thank
Erica, for
you.
that. I mean, this is just a wealth of information. We could have 12 more shows just like this and still not get through all the wonderful just advice and tips you've provided for us today. I know that they can also go on your website, right?
Yes,
www.hemphappier.com
yes, and
to
my
get more information about that.
yes, please do because we have educational stuff on there. We have the products. And so we provide a lot of education because, like I said, most people don't know. Cannabis was one of the main ingredients of our pharmaceutical medications before the 1930s when cannabis became illegal. So cannabis was legal at one point in our history prior to the 1930s. And so again, this is a plant that has been studied, that has scientific research that supports the efficacy, and the information is now becoming available. It's becoming available. And so, yeah, if you want to find out more, go to my website, www.hemphappier.com, for all of the services I provide, www.healthyminds.expert. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Dr.
so
Sean.
much, Dr. Erica. You have to come back again. And I
Will
just want to
do.
give a quick shout out to my Faith Forward Ministry followers and my sisters of the She Shed. We have a Erica's also a member. Erica's one of
Yes.
our sisters. So the
Yes.
Sisterhood Society of the She Shed. We love y'all. Thank y'all for
Yes.
tuning in. And if you want to find out what our show is for next week, you can go on the show website. It's www.themorningliftshow.com. Again, that's www.themorningliftshow.com. Each week, we have a different guest sharing with you different ideas and tips on how you can move forward in your life. It's called the Morning Lift Show for a reason. We want to get your week started, get you going every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on your spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental wellness journey. And we have on the website all the guests for the entire fall season, actually through Christmas, so through our winter. So you want to check there often and see who's coming on next. So I invite you back next week on the Morning Lift Show with Dr. Sean Kyle, where you can find every Monday morning at 8 a.m. on iHeart station, Intellectual Radio. And you can see us live here on Facebook. And Dr. Erica, we'll have you back again another time.
Wonderful.
And I wish everyone a great week. Stay lifted. This has been the Morning Lift Show. Bye now.
Bye. You're enough.
If you have enjoyed The Morning Lift, please visit our website at themorningliftshow.com. You will find upcoming events as well as options for donating to our 501c3 organization. Be inspired, be uplifted, and be blessed. It's the Morning Lift.